I got some new products from UPKNIFE, and I'm always excited to see what UPKNIFE is coming up with because he does some pretty wicked stuff. And this is something I've seen on his Instagram for a while now, and I've always wanted to try it. And it's basically a multi-tool retractable knife. And the spring on it is strong. This thing will jump out of your hand if you're not hanging on to it. I mean, it'll literally jump completely out of your hand. It has recoil, man, but you can easily hang on to it because it does have the texturing, so it's not gonna go anywhere, you know, but once you know the spring tension, it's not gonna go anywhere. It actually has a pretty satisfying feeling to it, almost like a fidget toy in a way, and it does have a half mode or a short mode, so you can just, you know, take the blade out just, you know, a little bit, or you can bring it all the way. Now, being a multi-tool, it's actually kind of smart, the steel he used on this one. He used a 14C28M, and then the handle, I'm guessing is 61 aluminum, T6 aluminum. I'm guessing that's what this is. The next 14C28M blade steel, which is one of the toughest steels on the planet. It is an incredibly tough steel. It's also a great stainless steel, and it holds a good edge. So great steel for this application. Now you see we have these hex heads, but then there's also these hex heads. So I'm not sure if you're supposed to use these ones. I'm guessing you're supposed to use them. So we have, what, 6 different sizes? So I actually just realized that this thing actually has 8 different heads on it. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. These 2 are a different size than these 2. So he really maximized all the real estate on this thing. Very cool, man. 8 is definitely better than 6. And they seem to be pretty standard sizes. So it's probably gonna be most likely the size you run into in many cases. I will obviously do some more testing over time, but just off the bat, you know, I tested the wire cutter. The wire cutter worked. I didn't think it was gonna work as good as it did, but it actually worked good. I tested, you know, the bolt heads, so, you know, that worked. I haven't tested the bottle opener yet. I have tested the blade. I didn't cut a lot, but I cut a little bit of stuff, and, you know, it's very sharp. It cuts pretty well. So we'll see how it works out over time. Maybe we'll have to test out this glass breaker and see if it actually works. You also have this as a belt cutter, so you can, you know, cut off a belt in the need. You have a glass breaker. The glass breaker does, when the blade is open, it bounces inside there. I'm not sure if that's what's supposed to happen. I'm guessing it's just the way it's supposed to be, but it just spins freely. But when it's closed, you know, it doesn't pop in. It kind of just pops out. Deep carry clip, as you can see. And then is this a magnet? Yep. So we have a magnet here. I'm not sure what the magnet's for. Is that what's making the spring? No, there's no way. That's got to have a real spring in it. There's no way that tension is like that from a magnet. So, yeah, so it does have a magnet here. Now, I'm not 100% sure if that's just for like picking things up or hanging it on something, or if it actually has a real purpose. I do know, you know, if you retract this and your finger's in the hole, the blade is not going to close. So you do have to move your finger out of the way, but you know, you grip it around the edges. And you know, all in all, you know, you can easily get a good grip on this thing. So as far as like using it as a cutting tool, yeah, this thing will work. Play, of course, there's a little bit of play. With this kind of knife, you would expect that. This isn't a, I guess you could say this is a hard use knife, but not in a hard use knife as in batoning and prying and stuff like that, but it is a hard use knife as in like it's a multi-tool. It's a multi-tool, but the cutting purposes are, you know, just regular cutting. You know what I mean? So very cool though, man. This thing is fascinating. Like I said, man, he comes up with some really cool stuff. I'd love to see one of these in all titanium. He might have them, I'm not sure. I'll link everything I can down in the description. Now this is something I already have, but now this one's different. This one's using, well, a couple things are different. One thing, this one's using 7075 T6 aluminum, and instead of it being a steel blade, it's an aluminum blade with a steel tip. So I don't know what steel this is. But it's a hardened steel, obviously, and he did sharpen it, so we have a nice edge here, which, you know, is really cool because aluminum doesn't take or hold an edge very well, but hardened steel does. So it allows you to have a very lightweight knife. Now, the next thing that's really cool about this is that it actually has a clip, which is one of my complaints with the original one, was that there was no way to really carry it. So now you can actually carry it, and I know it's long, yes, it's big, but it actually fits in the pocket, at least in my pocket. But when you extend it out, you can see it is quite long. These are made for throwing. So, you know, obviously you can use them just for poking or whatever, you know, but the intended purpose is for plunging and throwing. So, stabbing and throwing. It is a gravity knife. So basically what you do is you push this button right here, push it forward just slightly. That'll give you the grip you want around this little circle, and then you just whip it. And it slides right up, and then it locks in right here. Now, I know this lock doesn't look very strong, but I have yet to have had one fail from throwing it. I'm not saying it's impossible to fail. Obviously, nothing's impossible, but it definitely holds up pretty well, you know, as far as for throwing and stuff. Obviously, it's not going to be something you're going to hard use and baton through things, but if you're using it for its intended purposes, poking through things and throwing things, you know, it's going to do fairly well, you know. And yeah, it's pretty damn cool. The clip, you know, it works well. I already put it in the pocket, you know, no problems with that. Has some good texturing around the edge of it. So, you know, if you are going to use it for poking at things, you have this guard so it doesn't slide you up. You can hold it like this, and it has, you know, since you have such a long handle, it works really well for throwing. Like I said, I'm not sure about the steel. Maybe I'll write it on the screen. I'm sure it's just a simple steel, but, you know, I don't know. It doesn't say anywhere. Again, I would love to see one of these in titanium as well. Either way, man, these things are damn cool. And like I said, you know, UPKNIFE is always doing, or has, you know, done a lot of interesting, wicked things. And I like it. I'm here for it because we see, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the same old, because I love the same old, I love what works. But that doesn't mean I don't want to see makers and companies step out of the box and do interesting and fascinating things that are weird and funky and unique and different. I think that's what makes this all the fun. You know, we can have plenty of the old-fashioned stuff, or you could say even just like, you know, the stuff that works, you know, that's going to be the stuff that you daily carry and use. But it doesn't mean you don't want to have fun with stuff, you know. That's what makes this hobby so badass. And this thing is really cool, man. I like this thing a lot. Yeah, this thing's pretty dope. I'm definitely going to talk to him about seeing if unless he already has it, but doing a titanium one. You guys know I'm a titanium whore. So I don't even mind the steel. Like, I'd prefer this steel. The only other steel I would say that would be, you know, that would be just as good as maybe 3V or Crewwear or Nitro V. So, you know, 14C's right there, you know, it's right there with the Nitro V. So, great steel choice. Anyways, guys, thank you guys for watching. Like I said, everything will be linked down in the description. Work hard, stay tough. Until next time, peace.